Welcome in to Come Get Some. I'm your host, Blake Williams, joined here via the Dallas Arlington area, Mr. Come Get Some himself from the DC Defenders facilities, Gregg Williams. How you doing, G-Dub?
Doing all right. Gotta keep on improving, getting better, but looking forward to chatting with you here today and, having a good week this week.
I feel you, my man. I know it's another rough loss, and we'll get into talking about that a little bit. But summer's almost in full swing up here in Cleveland. Kids are almost out of school. Today was day one of my summer internship, so I had all my young summer interns up here at Northwestern Mutual in Lakefront Capital up here. So it's that time of the year. And we had the PGA Championship this past weekend. We've got an awesome guest, a surprise guest on here as well too today to talk about the awesome Preakness Championship win. But going back and talking about the PGA, I mean, obviously the whole world's been a buzz, and I know it was before you traveled to DC this weekend, so I know you saw it and followed it all. Yeah. But did you see all the Scotty Scheffler arrest and everything?
I did, and that was Friday morning, and I was up early, and already way before the other coaches and the players get here, and I saw that going on, and I was scanning my phone to see if I had his number anymore, and I don't, because he's got a different phone. And the thing about it is, you take a look about something like that. Did you see that he was stretching during the time he's in jail?
Yes.
He's doing all of his mannerisms and his body language things without a club. And then he shows up and blocks everything out. And what's he shoot? 4 or 5 under?
5 under.
That day.
5 under. I mean, it's sad first and foremost what happened to the fan that got hit and killed. It's also, sad and frustrating that they couldn't figure out, some better way to handle it with the athletes, right? Because they're not okay. Well, they're still playing it as normal, but then you see a guy is having to walk. This is 4 hours after the fact, right? Like walk half a mile or a mile, to the course, and obviously what happened with Scotty Scheffler, but that goes back to, like you talked about, just amazing compartmentalization where he can have all that stuff go on. The elite ones have the ability to do that, where they can just, compartmentalize in the zone. Hey, if I get out of here, I got to, play my way, and so I got to go through my normal routine, even though it's in this not good situation right now, and then come out and go into that sanctuary and still shoot 5 under, and that's why he's number one in the world, because there's a superpower in athleticism to being able to compartmentalize like the great ones do.
Yep, there's no doubt about that. And the great ones, no matter what sport they're in, they can do that. Tom Brady, all those guys can do that type of stuff. LeBron, Kobe, all those things. And my personal question to Scotty would be, now that, you were on a roll and you were doing like that, how many times when you hit the driver did you say F you?
Well, it's all mic'd up like the UFL, so you can hear all that stuff nowadays, at the PGA. But it was definitely a crazy day in the sport. But hey, stick right with us, because when we get back, we have a surprise guest, and we're gonna get all the behind the scenes from this Preakness Championship win this past weekend in horse racing. Welcome back into Come Get Some. I'm your host, Blake Williams, joined virtually here with Mr. Come Get Some himself, Gregg Williams, down from the Arlington, Dallas area. And we're also joined with Angry Ken, a.k.a. BIGPLAY co-owner, a.k.a. Big Congrats, owner of the Preakness champion, Seize the Gray. Congratulations, my man, Ken. I know you had an awesome weekend.
Oh, it was an awesome weekend. I mean, I don't think I've really slept yet. Certainly, it was very exciting. Come on, two legends like you guys know what it's like when you win a Super Bowl. In horse racing, winning one of the big Triple Crown races, Kentucky Derby, Preakness, or Belmont is where it's at. And I'd say this was one of the thrills of my life.
It should be, and that's just awesome. And that you got a lot more people at that than we would ever have at a Super Bowl. The stadiums don't fit as many people as it can be at a horse race, and over 200,000 people That is a fantastic event. So proud of you. Congratulations, my man.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it was a long journey and we took a lot of other people with us, but it's, again, I was saying before we started the show, our jockey, Jamie Torres, 25-year-old guy
Mm-hmm.
with our legendary trainer, 25-year-old jockey with our legendary trainer, Dwayne Lucas, 88 years old. Nobody gave us a chance. And, I was just so proud of the way everybody performed. And for Wayne Lucas, who's a legend, he's already in the Hall of Fame. But for Jamie Torres, this is life-changing. Life-changing. When you win a jewel like the Preakness, now you're in demand everywhere.
And then it's even more of a special win just because of what you said, that nobody thought that you and that horse and those trainers and that jockey were going to be in it and to win it. I have lots of other words you can say too about those kind of people, and I won't do that hand signal. No, I didn't. But hey, that is a great win.
We'll talk.
Well, you know what? And I'm going to steal, Coach. I'm going to steal a little bit of yours. All I can say to the media now is, come and get some.
There you go. There you go. We're gonna have to get that. And so you talked about the journey a little bit. Like, so I'm curious with this, right? I know you well, Ken, but what led, like, how long have you been in the horse racing and thoroughbred raising world? And what kind of got you into that? How did that journey start?
Sure. Well, I've always been fascinated with horses. And I came across a guy by the name of Michael Behrens who founded My Racehorse. And this was in 2020. Company was very young.
And what is My Racehorse?
Sure. So My Racehorse is an entity that was formed
Mm-hmm.
to allow the masses, and it was formed with SEC compliance, so it allowed the masses an opportunity to buy a share of a horse like you would buy a share of a stock. And so the share of a horse might be $100, maybe $80, $100, something in that range. And that's it. You'll have no other expenses, but you now own, and you get a certificate that says, I'm an owner of this particular horse, whatever the horse might be. We'll cover all the expenses. And then you get to go on this incredible journey. The company is so well laid out. We send videos out and communications each week to the owners. And I mean, you see your horse learn to walk, run, put a saddle on him, get a rider, go on the track, learn a starting gait, and then ultimately, hopefully graduate to races and then even on to something bigger. All right, so I came across the concept. We bought into a micro share of a horse named Authentic, who ended up winning the Kentucky Derby in 2020.
2020 Derby winner, yep.
Yeah, became Horse of the Year. And as an owner, you then share in the stallion value, of which Authentic is out there making babies to the tune of $75,000 a baby, 229 babies the first year, $32 million. Now, everybody we get a little sliver of that. But this concept was so phenomenal that I got together with Michael, and my wife and I became major shareholders of My Racehorse. And we just started building it out from there. And then Mary, my wife, and I have bought a number of horses ourselves where we've just done traditional syndicates. But with Seize the Gray, we bought this one and we knew he was special. And we said we wanted to share it with the masses. So 2,500 people own a small piece of the Preakness winner in 2024.
That's so amazing concept. It's like the Green Bay Packers, so to say, right? Everybody gets a share of the team, but the horse. But you said different though. You actually, in this, you get dividends or potential share of the winnings without any cost, right? With the Green Bay Packers, you just kind of get like, hey, that's great. Your team,
way more than,
your team won. You have a piece of paper.
This is way more than just a certificate on the wall. You actually get to participate. We do lotteries so that owners get to come to tracks, get to come behind the scenes. At the Preakness, I think we had maybe about 400 people in attendance, and then some of those got to come back and enjoy some of the unusual perks that owners get.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you without a doubt, there were more people watching and rooting for Seize the Gray, because you multiply those thousands of people's families and friends and the watch parties. And what made it so special too, and we were talking before, and again, I know Coach loves this. First of all, for those that don't know, only 3-year-old horses, of which there's 35,000 of them in the world, 17,000 in the United States, and maybe only about 25 that are good enough to be in any of the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, or Belmont. And we were fortunate. We were one away from the Derby and then made it into the Preakness. But there's so many great horses with legendary trainers in that race. And you watch Mike Tirico and the guys on NBC Sports, and not taking anything away from them, but they're talking like they're experts. And, you know, nobody was, you know, they did very, very, very little publicity on us. They're all talking about Bob Baffert's horse, Imagination, and Brad Cox, who just missed winning the Kentucky Derby, and Kenny McPeak, who has Mystic Dan, who won the Derby, and he's going to romp in the Preakness, and didn't give us any love. And we're about 9-1 on the tote board. But as they get closer to the race, they all give their prognostications. Not one of them picked Seize the Gray. We were walking around, very little media around us, and we led wire to wire. And boy, did it change after the race. There were hundreds of people following us around with cameras and microphones. And Coach loves this. We're like, not now, not now.
Yeah. They said, wait, who are you now? Who are you now? You know, and you're not sneaking up on anybody now. In what? So you mentioned it, Ken. So you and Seize the Gray has had a nice little, you know, month and a half run right here, right? Is this his third win in the last 6 weeks, right?
So we finished third and just missed the Derby. Then we went to the Pat Day Mile, which was on the undercard of the Derby. We won that race.
Yeah, won that earlier in the day. Yep.
Right. And then 2 weeks later, we came to the Preakness. And because some of the horses that were in the Derby came to the Preakness, again, we weren't getting a whole lot of love. But it's really
awesome.
Changed now. You know, as one of the really cool things, and I don't know if you're showing some of those pictures, but one of the perks that you get as an owner at the level that we're at, you get to go over and spend time with the horse the day before. And that's where we got a chance to sit with Wayne Lucas and Bob Baffert and just chat about the horse and what the race was going to be like. And of course, we call Wayne coach as well. You know, he's telling us what the strategy is going to be. Get to the lead, never let anybody get close to you, and just go wire to wire. Of course, you know, I'm sure all the other trainers are thinking that too, but we knew we had a lot of tactical speed. But also as a privilege, my wife and I got to go before the race and spend time with your horse, and it's nervous. And about an hour before the race, you do a walkover from the back stalls onto the track and in front of the grandstand, and then over to the paddock where they saddle up the horse. It's a lot of pomp and ceremony, and for these big races, in this case, NBC is covering you the whole way. I'm wearing a white suit. My wife is wearing this beautiful pink dress. It's pouring down rain right up until the moment we walk. And we're the first horse in the parade, and I'm walking in mud, and I'm not kidding you, it's shin deep. It's so sloppy, it's so muddy, and I'm the first owner in this parade of horses. And as we get in front of the grandstand, there's 200,000 people. They're yelling at you. They're yelling at names. And I'm thinking to myself, excited about all this, but I'm worried about my wife behind me, and I hope she's doing okay. But most of all, I don't want to fall in the mud in front of 200,000 people and millions of viewers on NBC in a white suit. It would have been
a whole nother level of pressure. You said right there.
I'll tell you what, it was victory just getting to the paddock.
And you talked about, you know, that the night before and kind of shit in the time before and with Bob Baffert and Dwayne, you know, Lucas and everything. But we're looking at your young, you know, jockey, you know, Torres right now. But I heard, you know, through the grapevine that with all that rain and weather and travel, like you almost didn't have a jockey there for a second. So is that true?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. So we did a night dinner before. There was 12 of us, our key owners and partners of my racehorse. And we invited Wayne and his wife, but it was kind of a late night dinner, and they wanted to get their rest, so they declined. But our jockey, Jamie Torres, and his girlfriend were like, yeah, absolutely, we'll be there. Well, we're at the restaurant at 7 o'clock, and he's pinging us. My flight hasn't left yet. It's delayed. We're like, oh, no. What are we going to do if our jockey can't get here? Yeah. He ended up getting in way late that night. Well, when I see him on Saturday morning, the day of the race, he comes running up to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I missed the dinner. It wasn't my fault. I'm like, Jamie, relax, relax. The dinner's not important. Focus on the race.
You said just go win.
Yeah.
But that's how polite this kid is. He's a 25-year-old. Wayne gave him a shot a couple races ago. He's done phenomenal. Then we get to the Preakness, and again, Coach and Blake, you'll love this. All these big time riders, their agents are calling Wayne going, hey, I'm sure you're going to get rid of Jamie. He hasn't done anything. We'll ride your horse. And Mr. Lucas is like, no, he's our guy. He's our guy. We'll do just fine. And Jamie did a phenomenal job. And I'm getting chills telling the story because it was tears afterwards, because this is life-changing for him to win a race like the Preakness. And by the way, he's the youngest jockey to ever win the Preakness. Life-changing.
Wow, the youngest jockey.
Is that massive? And I do have a hand signal for all them. That is great. That is great that he did that. And tell everybody, stop calling me agents. I got my jockey.
Exactly. Another tip too, and this was a key stat. It was the sloppiest rain track in 75 years for the Preakness. And it rained so hard. And Seize the Gray is a gray horse. And this is absolutely true. Bet the gray on a rainy day, because gray horses win in sloppy, rainy weather. And, it's absolutely true.
That is cool. Yeah, I've heard that before, and that is obviously that was a great a predictor right then and there was the gray horse. That's fantastic.
And I heard being obviously there in the kind of Baltimore area, that you had all types of people, including celebrities, from in athletes from our world, trying to get at you and take pictures, with you in the back room. Who were some of the people that you saw back there, trying to celebrate with you guys?
Well, so I was wearing a hat that said Seize the Gray, and afterwards, you go to the winner's circle and it's very exciting. And then there's the big celebration at the back barn for the owners, the big champagne event that I told you about. But we had to run back into the Terrace Club. My wife had her purse and some of our belongings there. So we're just kind of in a hurry, and you're passing by people and everybody's high-fiving you because you're the Preakness winner. And who do we run into but Lamar Jackson and a couple of his friends and their gals. And I don't even recognize it at the time. I'm still in a haze. And Lamar's friend goes, wait a second. You just won the Preakness. Can I take a picture with you? So he hands the phone to Lamar, and Lamar's taking pictures of me. That's funny.
That's great.
That's awesome. Hey, so Preakness win, Kentucky Derby undercard win, Preakness win. What's next on the docket for My Racehorse and Seize the Gray?
Well, first of all, we've got a big announcement for Big Play and My Racehorse in a moment. But as far as Seize the Gray, I got to be careful now because we can't give away our strategy and our secrets. But I'll say this for any horse in general that wins a big race, you have a lot of decisions because the stallion value right now goes way up.
Yep.
But one wrong turn in a practice round or on a race, and the horse gets hurt, and for whatever reason, then can't be a stallion. You lose out. So there's decisions to be made as that goes. There's also decisions to be made whenever you win. What's your next race? And in the case of a horse that would win a race like the Preakness, do you come back to the Belmont, or you just wait for some of the bigger races in the summer? Because right now he's the hottest horse in the world.
Yes.
Right.
You go to the Belmont, and let's say you don't have a good performance, then your stock has dropped way down. So not giving anything away here. Obviously, Wayne Lucas has some thoughts, and we as owners have some thoughts. We'll be announcing something here in the next week.
So what's the big news that you just teased, though?
Well, so as I mentioned, My Racehorse was built with the concept of we do all the work for you, and we give average individuals that would otherwise wouldn't have a chance to be part of owning a racehorse a chance to do it. But what we're announcing today on your show, come and get some, with the legendary Coach GW and Coach Blake, that we're going to buy a horse for Big Play, and we're going to offer it up to the viewers as an opportunity. Go online and buy a share of the Big Play horse and get all
Wow.
the scenes opportunity to hopefully make a run to one of these big races like we just did with Seize the Gray. So a lot more details coming up, but it's going to be a big play, really a big play opportunity for our viewers and our fans. And I don't think it's gonna last very long. So when we make the announcements, we'll be sure to announce it on this show so that your fans can get the opportunity. And like I said before, what's so cool about this, it's not just a certificate on the wall.
Right.
You really will get a chance to weekly be communicated with, Q&As with the trainer. It looks like we're going to have one of the top trainers in the country. I won't divulge the name now, but you'll recognize the name. The horse will probably be located in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
We'll run Churchill Downs. Now, they'll run all over the country, but we want to make it really easy for our viewers in the Midwest, particularly Ohio, to get down there and see some of the races. So he'll race in Ohio and Kentucky, and as we have some success on some of the bigger races. But I think it's going to be a real cool opportunity, and happy to share.
Well, that's amazing news, Ken. Thank you for joining us today again. Congratulations to you and your wife and everybody over at My Race Horse, and enjoy and Seize the Day and the whole team, or Seize the Gray and the whole team. Continue to enjoy this. Thank you for sharing that. Be careful what you wish for is how I would end this segment, because I don't know if Churchill Downs and the Preakness and the Belmont is ready for G-Dub to be standing up on the in the owner's box doing a straight suckets, to 200,000 people in a white linen suit. But I appreciate you, my man.
FTW on that walk.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey,
that will be for the NFL and Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
I want him to
New
see
list.
I want him to see it.
Well, thank you, my man. Hey, stick right with us, because when we get back, we're going to have a recap of the DC Defenders week game this past weekend.
Congratulations again.
Welcome back in to Come Get Some, and this is our UFL DC Defenders segment where we're recapping the games from last week. And we talked about, an awesome epic win up there in the that area of the country, right at the Preakness, just up the road, in the Baltimore kind of Maryland area. And you guys were playing at DC this past weekend. Oh no, you guys were actually I forgot you guys were in St. Louis. I'm losing my mind. You guys were in St. Louis this weekend. But G-Dub, talk a little bit about that St. Louis game. Kind of give us the kind of recap and the nuggets of that game.
The big thing was that A.J. McCarron, who was a great quarterback, especially in this league, and is Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama many years ago. He got hurt, had a high ankle sprain, so didn't play. So they had their other quarterbacks play, and he's a very mobile quarterback. He scrambles a bunch, and really, he had 80 yards rushing in this game, and all 80 of them came on scrambles. And the thing that really pissed me off most about that was 34 of those yards were yards after contact or yards after a missed tackle, that type of stuff. But we did confuse him quite a bit. He did change and have to all of a sudden, his second read was him running. We did a really, really good job, of minimizing total yards, third down. They only got 3 third downs the whole game. And, made him kick field goals. But, and I'm sure the UFL won't like me saying this, but whoever signaled those last 2 touchdowns that were from the 1-yard line that were good, I have no idea what they're looking at, because the ball never crossed the goal line. And we have exact shots of that type stuff that we could have forced field goals in those situations. But our guys really locked in and played a very physical ball game against a very good team and a well-coached team. And the thing that and you saw in the run game, they are a gap scheme run game. And they pull the tackle, they pull the guards, they pull the centers, they pull the tight ends, and they have to do that because they're not good enough to knock you off the ball one-on-one. So they've got to get those angles. Our guys played those very well. They only had, less than 60 yards rushing with the running back. But they kept drives going with the quarterback scrambles. And if I look back, and I know that you're going to smile about this, if I would have done one other thing differently in that game is I'd have blitzed this guy more. And because, he did struggle recognizing things, but the one thing that we have done here very well the last month is that we've fixed some things in the back end and in our secondary, and we're not giving up explosive plays back there or blown coverages or missed assignments. So I didn't want to hang them out to dry. We made them have to take the ball down the field and be very patient. And as you know, that's not something very easy for me.
Right.
But looking back, but I did do one of the things you and I talked about. I think you saw us, pressure the strong safety quite a bit this week.
Yeah, and it frustrated them. Yep.
It really frustrated them in the run game, plus also in some of the pass game things.
Yep. So something I want to talk about a little bit because I've been there so many times on this. First of all, at what point in time in the week did you know that AJ McCarron wasn't going to play? When did you find that out?
Officially, wasn't until Friday, but I'd heard we'd heard rumors, starting early Thursday morning that there was a chance, and so as you know, I'm practicing against all that stuff at that point in time.
Yeah, so that's where my next question was going to lead, right? Is so, at what point in time did you guys start preparing for the other quarterback, the guy that's a mobile scrambler quarterback, in the week, or like how did that play out, or how does that play out when you're trying to, you don't know quite who you're going to play, and they're two different dudes, right? One of them's an NFL player, like you talked about, that's leading the league in touchdown passes, yards, all that type of stuff, right? And then the other one hasn't played since college, because in all of his UFL, XFL days, he's been AJ McCarron's backup. And so he hadn't played, since college, like 4 years ago or 5 years ago or however long it is. So how did you prepare for that, or how do you prepare for two different quarterbacks that are very different?
Well, Blake, you know this, and as you know, if you can't adapt, you don't belong, and you can't adjust, you don't belong. Down here in Dallas, Arlington on Thursday, practices all over the UFL got canceled because of severe lightning, thunderstorms, lightning striking the ground. That it looked like a monsoon rainstorm, so nobody practiced, and it was only meetings, on Thursday. So the actual practicing part of this stuff took place on Friday. We had a couple of periods just for those situations. Had a spy scheme that when we were spying on him, and it go back to you there, LAY. But when we had two backers on the back, one linebacker was on the running back, and those man-to-man. The other one was on the quarterback, and did okay with that. But a few of the no-back situations where we want to have a pass rush game, which we call palms, a palms game into contain the quarterback, we lost contain. And we lost contain a couple of those times, and we lost a couple of step-up lanes a couple of those times.
I saw that, yep.
One back or no back, and wasn't very good, and I wasn't very happy about it.
I can only imagine, and
in fact, I think I told the announcer that when I was walking in at halftime, if I came back out with dirty tennis shoes, that was because I stuck them someplace that a lot of other people don't like.
I've been a part of those halftime adjustments. I think famously the Browns fans saw one of those in a preseason game,
Yes,
on Hard Knocks, where you were lit up one time. But hey, so where are we at right now in the season? Are you guys officially mathematically out of playoff contention with 2 games left to play?
Yes, we are, and now everything's about finishing it exactly right. And the other thing that you hear me say all the time is don't be on film not doing good, and doing everything we can to be on film. And I'm so proud because we played very well defensively throughout these losses. We've been very, very, very good. We could be a little bit better, but we've been very good. And that getting these young men the opportunity to get into NFL, OTAs, mini camps, and also into training camp this year. And we want to do that. And that's because of the film that they put up there every day.
You got it, man. And good luck with that. Hey, stick right with us, because when we get back, we're going to get a Game 9 preview of the Memphis Showboats game for the DC Defenders coming up this weekend. Welcome back into Come Get Some, and we just had a recap of the DC Defenders game this past weekend, the hard-fought loss, against the St. Louis Battlehawks, and now we're previewing their upcoming game this weekend against the Memphis Showboats. G-Dub, is this your first time back to the Liberty Bowl since 98 or 90?
I cannot believe. I was hoping you were going to ask
or 97.
I know, but that's when you and Arthur Smith, were, managers, and you were climbing the fence to get in the night
and
before.
Brandon Fisher, yeah.
And you and Brandon Fisher, and the dogs almost got you.
Yeah.
They were guarding the stadium. This is my first time back to when the dogs almost chewed both of you guys up.
That's 27 years ago. So for the fans that don't know what we're talking about, the Liberty Bowl, the old Liberty Bowl Stadium there in Memphis, where the University of Memphis, always played, is when the Houston Oilers, when the old Houston Oilers picked up and moved to Tennessee, kind of in the middle of the night, they had nowhere to play. And so the first 2 years they were in Tennessee, they were called still actually the Tennessee Oilers, 97, 98.
Oilers.
And in 1997, they had to play all of their home games in Memphis, which is, 3.5 hours, away at this, kind of decrepit Liberty Bowl Stadium. And so Brandon Fisher, who coached with us in the league and is a defensive coordinator at Tennessee State, Jeff Fisher's oldest son, and then Arthur Smith, who we all know out there, who was from up there, and father is, the founder of FedEx, and he's, the new offensive coordinator at the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we were all the ball boys. And so we show up the night before the first preseason game at the Liberty Bowl, and we're supposed to be able to get in. And so we're with all the head equipment managers, like old men, and whatnot. And we're supposed to be unloading all the stuff, and we can't get in. And so, we're there. It's like, this is pre-cell phone era, all that type of stuff. And so it's probably midnight. And so I was just like, I'll go up and over. And they're like, there's razor wire up there. And I was like, dude, I'm like a monkey. I'll climb up and over. And they're like, man, if you get hurt, your dad's going to kill you or kill us. And I was like, it'll be fine. I'm going to go up and over. And so I climb up and I go over this thing and I land, down, and I'm kind of facing them back out. And I got that shit-eating grin smirk, on my face. I'm a 7th grader. And all of a sudden I'm hearing and stuff like that, and I turn around and there's about 10 yards from me there are 2 Doberman Pinscher guard dogs there, and I'm by themselves. I'm oh crap, and dude, I scrambled back up that thing so fast. I'm it was a high, 10-foot fence or whatever.
12 foot.
It was way high up there like that, so I didn't have to go back over the razor wire to be high enough that they couldn't get up there to me. But eventually, from all the barking and all that type of stuff, the groundskeeper heard him, and he had fallen asleep, or he'd probably fallen asleep with some Jack Daniels or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt,
but he came and found us and saved me and let us in. But talk to us a little bit give us a little bit of the 90-second nuggets and keys to victory against the Memphis Showboats this week.
Well, we've had a lot of experience with it this past week. Is they've had 3 quarterbacks start in the last month because of injuries and poor performance or whatever. So we got to be prepared for all 3. They've got some, and it's a really good, predominantly 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back personnel like that. But they do 12, 10, and out 1, which is an O-back concept, as you see, with 4 wides and only 1 tight end out there.
No back.
We've got a lot of the same things we have been seeing, a lot of the same styles of runs that we have been seeing. It's the same as, and our guys are fired up about getting ready to go up there, on the road. A lot of the guys are up from that area that I'm coaching, so it's going to be kind of fun for them and to see their families, and they're looking forward to playing in the old stadium and get ready to roll.
Well, that's awesome, man. Good luck to you, all your teams. Prideful men backed into a corner. I always learn that from you. Watch out. Come get some here this week. We'll be watching.
Right now, we broke the meeting with Come Get Some, and we wanted everybody up there to hear it because they want to say it on the field this week.
I love it, man. Well, hey, stick right with us because when we get back, we're going to talk about the OTAs in this area of the NFL calendar season.
Yep.
Welcome back into Come Get Some. I'm your host, Blake Williams, joined here with Mr. Come Get Some himself, Gregg Williams. And this is our NFL switching over, calendar segment right here. So going from the spring league in the UFL to now talking about what's going on in the NFL at this time of the year. And this is OTA seasons. We've come out of, most teams have come out of rookie mini camps, post-draft, and now we're in the OTA seasons. And so, G-Dub, why don't you talk to the viewers a little bit about your philosophy, our philosophy over all the years on what we're trying to accomplish and get done in the OTAs and kind of how we go about it and what purpose this serves like in the NFL offseason calendar.
That's a great question, Blake. And, throughout all the years that you and I have been able to get players to comprehend more than they ever have before and how they learn conceptually over memory-based things. And so we break our playbook down into 12 concept days and 12 concept things. And we believe that we're going to, and we do, we repeat those 12 concepts 3 times, before we ever play coming season. And it starts, in the workout or the meetings before the OTA start.
And before the draft, what we call phase one, the phase 1, phase 2 kind of area.
Phase 2,
yep.
All those meetings, all this stuff has been installed. And now through the OTAs and the mandatory mini camps, there's anywhere from 12 to 14 days that they're going to be coming in and doing this stuff. And so we're going to go back through those concepts one more time. And then when we get done with the spring part of it, now we do that same thing in the first 12 days of training camp. The point being is new players have to learn a new language, and then learning the schemes through concepts, not through memory base. There's an understanding of the technique. There's an understanding of the schemes that we're playing and why we're playing. And we've gotten young players to play faster for us than anybody else in the league. And it's the same thing I'm doing down here, Blake, in the UFL. I've done it the same way down here. And these guys, they're so happy that they're smarter than they've ever been before because now they understand things and don't memorize things.
Yeah, I would say I would break it down as like conceptually kind of how we always do things, right? Culture first, and you always talked about it all the time, like culture and effort, right? Like beats strategy any day. And so we pound in from day one of meeting one of phase 1 in the rooms, even like how it's going to be done, how we're going to do it. When you don't know, go. When we're going to throw as much at you and see who can do, who can learn, what can stick and what not. But we're also going to see who can, even when they don't know, they can go. Right? Like they can not have paralysis by analysis. Who can understand that nothing violates the how. And so we start with the how. Always come back to the how. Don't ever let go like how we're going to go about playing, swarming, the mentality, the physicality, the effort. And then we go into the conceptually then the what. Like what, just like start to understand the language, the what, even if you're, and I always respected this as well too with going back to like Sean Payton and the West Coast days of like, even with Drew Brees, right? So like it would be year however long, right? Year 12 with Drew Brees, and there's the same thing back in the day with Joe Montana, where it would be, hey, meeting 1 of the offseason is this. And it's like Drew Brees would stand up and like say, this is how we're gonna huddle. Like, and they'd be like looking at here's the picture, the diagram of how we huddle. Here's how it's gonna sound, in the huddle. Like, here's how we're gonna call the play. Here's how we're gonna get to the line of scrimmage. Like the most basic, stuff, and not assuming that that person like isn't going to make a mistake, but also just because, hey, the coaches have been there forever, or the quarterback or whoever's been there forever, like doesn't mean there's not new guys in the room who don't know and can be easy sometimes for people to forget. So the how, and then the what, all right, and then the why is like what you talked about as well too. Like you keep reinstalling it 3 times through a minimum, if not 4 times through the off season, and so you've gone through the how, now the what, the why. and then, hey, now back to the how. Like, you've got it all now. You understand it. You understand how it all fits together, and you can use it in a dynamic NFL environment. So what would you say, G-Dub, is like the number one priority for you coming out of OTAs? Okay, staying healthy. First and foremost, staying healthy, okay? So what would be 1B? What's the number one most important thing for you, like, coming out of OTAs every year?
Every year, the biggest thing that I wanted to see was staying healthy, but I wanted to see them I wanted to see them play faster on film than anybody else has ever seen them play. And the speed of the decision-making, the speed of the effort, the speed of the play makes us be great. And that was a big factors of what I wanted to see, so that we weren't slowing them down with too much to think about. And then you better be tough. Okay. You better be tough, because I can bring some other items to the meeting room that you won't like when you aren't playing tough, because I'm not going to coach somebody who's not tough. They can go home to mom and dad and play around with that.
You mean you're gonna pull a Tiger Woods, like when he outdrives somebody, and walk and maybe have something sitting at some people's desk. So G-Dub, talk about OTA performances, and so talk about, like, who comes to mind. You probably have some where guys like that maybe were young rookies, undrafted guys that, maybe you just come into a place, and they weren't like known as the guy, the top dog or whatever. Who are some of the most memorable OTA separation moment players that you had in your time, where, like, an OTA, they defined themselves as oh crap, like, this is a dude, and they went on to be a dude for you?
I will tell you, the really the very first one to come to mind was the 10th round pick that we had there, at the Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans. You know what I'm going to say?
Yep.
Is a short,
he was a bad man.
Short little bow-legged dude that played boundary corner at small college level, Blaine Bishop.
Ball State boundary corner. Yep. Blaine Bishop, 5-time Pro Bowler. Yep.
And I moved him in to play strong safety, and he was an assassin. And he played so fast, and he played tough and smart. He was similar to the attitude Sean Taylor played with a less ability and a smaller frame, but he was going out to make sure you remembered him on every single play. And now he's a know-it-all on the radio, and now he knows everything.
Now, I would say yes, that's true, but that's a little cheating a little bit with Blaine, because that wasn't OTAs. That was back in the days of mini camps.
That was mini
and
camp.
You had pads and actually hit, and Blaine's whole thing was like, get me out of these damn like DB drills when you keep killing me and I keep falling over backpedaling. Like, the game's played in pads, and pads are the great equalizer, and watch this, and he was that guy.
Because I was dog cussing him, doing all the drills, no pads on everything, and all of a sudden put the pads on, and I went, holy cow.
Well, it was definitely a come get some moment. He was definitely a come get some player. I can't wait to get Blaine on. I know he's going to get on here in a couple weeks with us and chop it up with us. So that's going to be awesome. But hey, on that come get some note, nice. I won't tell him. On that come get some note, send us out like you do, G-Dub.
Ready to break?
Come get some.